Why do some brands just feel so premium? You can walk into a store, see a product for half a second, and just know it's gonna be expensive. And the same thing happens with personal brands. You land on someone's feed and it just feels sleek and aesthetic, while others look cheap no matter how hard they try. And the funny thing is, you can't quite explain why. Well, here's the thing. Premium branding isn't about beautiful design or fancy materials. It's about understanding a few key psychological principles, the same ones brands like Lamborghini, Chanel, and Apple have used for decades to make us pay 10 times more. Today, I'm breaking down what those principles are and how you can use the same psychology to build a premium personal brand, charge more, and create a category of one. We all think we know what makes a brand premium. Better materials, better design, higher price. But the reality is a lot more interesting because premium has very little to do with the product itself and everything to do with how your brain interprets it. Premium isn't a price, it's a feeling your brain creates. Instantly. There's a famous neuroscience study where researchers put people in an MRI scanner and gave them 2 glasses of the exact same wine. Same bottle, same batch, same liquid. The only difference was the story. One glass was labeled as cheap, while the other one was labeled as premium. Now here's the crazy part. When people thought they were drinking the expensive one, the pleasure centers in their brain actually lit up more. They even said it tasted better. But remember, it was the exact same wine. Like nothing about the drink had changed, but the experience was different. Because the story was premium, their brain literally created a better experience for them. This is the core of premium branding. Premium brands aren't selling products, they're selling a psychological elevation, a status signal, an identity upgrade, an emotional experience, a story you want to belong to. All of this kicks in before logic does. Your brain categorizes things instantly, both emotionally and subconsciously. And here's the thing, the exact same psychological mechanism applies to personal brands. When someone lands on your feed, their brain instantly decides if you're premium, average, or cheap. That's before they've even watched a single video. Premium isn't evaluated logically, premium is felt. So when we talk about premium branding, we're not talking about logos or aesthetics. We're talking about the psychology that creates that instant premium feeling. And the brands that have mastered this all use the same psychological principles. Now let's break down what those principles are and how you can apply them to your own brand. The first principle of premium branding is one of the most misunderstood, and the best example is Hermes. Everyone talks about the Birkin being expensive, but that's not what makes it premium. The real reason is that you just can't walk into Hermes and buy one, not unless your sales associate thinks you're right for the brand, and that usually means having built a purchase history with them. That's the first principle of premium branding, exclusivity. Ferrari is another good example. There are people, including celebrities like Justin Bieber or Kim Kardashian, who absolutely have the money, but Ferrari still won't sell them a car because they don't fit the Ferrari lifestyle or they behave in a way that doesn't align with the brand. Like if you break their rules, they literally blacklist you. And this isn't new. Packard Motor Company did this in the 1920s. Cars were getting cheaper and the market was getting crowded. So Packard didn't try to compete with Ford and Chevrolet. They deliberately went the opposite direction, launching a campaign for the discriminating clientele, which is essentially the classy 1920s way of saying, this isn't for everyone, and honestly, thank God. As a result, their brand instantly became aspirational, not because of features, but because of exclusivity. In all of these cases, people aren't buying the product, they're buying access to an exclusive club. Psychologically, exclusivity does something very specific. It creates separation. There's the general public, and then there's our people. And the reason this works is because humans are obsessed with group identity. In behavioral science, this is called signaling. People buy products, brands, and experiences not just for their functional use, but to communicate their identity, social status, and values not only to others, but also to themselves. This is why exclusivity is so powerful. You're not just buying an item, you're buying an identity-reinforcing membership. And this is very different from scarcity. Like, think about it. A cheap shop can be sold out if there's enough demand, but that doesn't make it premium. Exclusivity answers a deeper psychological question. What kind of person gets to have this? And if the answer is not many, then suddenly everyone wants in. So with that in mind, the next question becomes, well, who are your people then, And that brings us to the second principle of premium branding, identity. Most people think premium brands reflect who you are right now, but that's not actually true. Premium brands aren't mirrors, they're projections. One of the best examples is Chanel No. 5. Back in the 1950s, the fragrance market was a mess. There were too many products, too much noise, and everyone was competing on ingredients, scent notes, bottle design. So Chanel did something completely different. They didn't try to sell the perfume. They sold the identity attached to it. Their campaign said, "Every woman alive adores Chanel No. 5. At the time, this was insanely bold, but also pure genius. They weren't selling a nice floral scent. They weren't even selling luxury. They were selling confidence, elegance, sophistication, independence. Chanel No. 5 became a symbol, a shorthand for the kind of woman I want to be. And this strategy hasn't changed in decades. Nike doesn't sell shoes, they sell ambition. Just do it is a personality trait, not a slogan. Apple doesn't sell tech, they sell creativity. Like owning a Mac is basically a personality archetype, right? Starbucks doesn't sell coffee, they sell lifestyle. Walking around with that cup is like a tiny identity badge. In every one of these cases, people aren't just buying the product, they're buying the person they become when they own it. Identity is one of the strongest forces in human psychology. There's a concept in behavioral science called the ideal self gap, the space between who you are right now and who you want to be. Premium brands live inside that gap. They give you a way to express the lifestyle, the values, the status, the confidence you want, or the future self you're trying to step into. Premium isn't a price tag, it's a self-signal. You're not buying the thing, you're buying the identity upgrade. And this is exactly why people are so loyal to premium brands. Once the identity bond forms, it's extremely hard to break because they're not attached to the product, they're attached to the version of themselves that product represents. And the same thing happens with personal brands. People don't just follow you because of what you teach or the value you provide. God, I hate that word. They follow you because of who they become by being in your world. Because they want to be like you. Maybe not completely, but at least to some extent. They want your lifestyle, your network, your taste, your resources, your mindset. Information alone may create followers, but identity? Identity creates superfans. Now let's go into the final principle that ties all of this together. So we've covered exclusivity and identity. Now exclusivity gets your attention and identity makes you care. But what makes a premium brand unforgettable is something else. Take Nespresso, for example. They realized everyone was selling coffee, so they decided to do something different. And instead of talking about coffee or machine features, they brought in George Clooney. Clooney was the story. He made you feel like choosing Nespresso was a conscious decision to be a person of taste. Nespresso went from selling coffee to selling elegance, ritual, sophistication. This is premium storytelling. And you see the same with the beers. Diamonds used to be just gemstones, but then they created the line, "A diamond is forever." And suddenly diamonds weren't jewelry anymore. They were eternal love, commitment, legacy. That story built an entire industry. Same thing with Red Bull. They don't sell an energy drink. They sell adrenaline, danger, rebellion. They created a whole universe around action sports, so the product became a natural extension of the story. In all of these cases, people aren't buying the object. They're stepping into the world the brand creates. Storytelling is the bridge between identity and emotion. It turns the product into a character and the customer into the hero. Behavioral psychology calls this narrative transportation, when people become so immersed in a story that they stop evaluating the product logically and start experiencing it emotionally. Now, how do you know if your brand story is powerful enough? Easy. Your story needs to do three things. One, place the customer inside a world. You need to tell your customer, this is who we are and this is what our people do. Two, give meaning to the product. This way a coffee machine becomes sophistication and a diamond becomes eternity. And three, make the purchase feel like a chapter in the customer's own story. So they're not buying the thing, but the feeling of becoming someone. Remember, the customer is always the hero, not you, not your brand. Storytelling is the final multiplier of premium branding. Without a story, a premium product is just a product, but with a story, it becomes a symbol, a world, a myth. Now, why does any of this matter for us? Well, because premium branding hasn't changed, only the platforms have. The brands people interact with the most today aren't Chanel or Rolex or Nespresso, they're individuals, creators, founders, experts, people online. So now let's talk about how this psychology applies to you. Your content, your online presence, and the way people perceive you the moment they land on your page, starting with exclusivity. You see, every creator has two choices. Try to appeal to everyone, or build a premium position that appeals deeply to the right people. Premium personal brands always choose the second option. That's our first principle, exclusivity in action. Your exclusivity shows up in the things you curate, what you talk about, your aesthetic, your editing style, your beliefs, your values, and even the people you call out or align yourself with. In other words, your positioning. Premium positioning doesn't chase. It sets a tone and only lets aligned people opt in. Then comes identity. Just like Chanel or Apple use identity to make people feel like a certain type of person when they buy from them, You do the exact same thing with your content. You are the identity signal. People don't become super fans because of the information you give them. Information creates followers, whereas identity creates loyalty. If your content expresses clarity, discipline, taste, ambition, minimalism, excellence, your brand automatically feels premium because those are premium traits. People aren't just consuming your advice, they're stepping into the identity behind it. They're thinking, I want to think like this, I want to operate like this, I want to live at this level. That's when your content stops being informational and becomes aspirational. And aspirational is one of the key things that makes a personal brand premium. But there's one other thing that most creators miss, and they miss it because it's invisible. And of course, that's storytelling. Your content needs to feel like a world, not just posts. This shows up in how you talk, your personal philosophy, your origin story, your frameworks, your visual language. When your content gives people a sense of belonging, a clear belief system, and a path to transformation, it stops being content and becomes a movement. It becomes culture, and culture, again, is premium. If you want more videos on personal branding, building an audience, and standing out online, please subscribe. I've got a lot more coming.